all have individual careers before you and while you became Gathering Time.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what you like better.
Oh.
Tell me what the differences are.
The differences. Well, it's such a pleasure to be able to sing harmony, you know. And even if you're a solo artist and you have other people singing with you, they're background vocalists,
Right.
and that's great. But when three people are working together and something is happening that none of them really has control over,
Yeah.
it's a lot more energizing.
I've
and
tried
exciting.
singing harmony
Like
as a
that's
soloist,
different.
and it's really, really difficult, no matter how good I am.
Well, and then the other neat thing is coming in. I've presented them with some song and then just been like, oh, here, go harmonize that. And I used to sort of sit there and say, well, I think I hear such and such and so and so. And then it got to be fun to not tell them anything. Mm-hmm. And you have no idea how many times I'll come back and what they came up with without me is exactly what I'd been thinking. It's like, they did it again. You know?
Mm-hmm.
That's neat.
So how do you adjust when you're working on your own?
Well, I'm kind of doing it backwards because my illustrious career before this was basically in karaoke bars.
But she was queen of the karaoke bar.
Yeah, I
Really?
used to run
Is that where you were
karaoke contests.
discovered?
Yep. Yeah.
Were you wearing a tight sweater and doing karaoke?
No, I was waltzing out of a place in Oyster Bay when Glenn was doing cruise night, and
That was live
with my-
karaoke.
yeah, and he had was walking by with the wireless thing set up, so he didn't, wasn't chained to a mic. And I came out of this place with my friend. We had gone there to have a beverage after work. So we come marching out of Canterbury's, and he's going by with the guitar, and he's singing, and I wish I could remember what song it was, but A, I got a big mouth, and B, I had a beverage, so I just started singing harmony.
Oh, wow.
And he does that stop, backs up, smiles, and keeps singing, and just, how long did we stay out there? He just started, he's like, I have another mic, come over here.
Yeah.
Oh, how
yeah.
neat.
Come back next week, he's telling me, and I'm like, hey, he's just being nice. 3 weeks later, I wander back, and he's like, look, I brought another mic, and I brought this, and I learned these songs that you like, and I'm like,
Oh, that's so terrific.
so I started crashing his gig week after week.
Very.
The funny thing was, that's how the two of them started working together. Not quite a year later, I'd run into Glenn. Glenn and I knew each other back a dozen years ago, and had totally lost touch with each other. And he was doing a concert. This was the spring of '06. It was a Saturday night. I happened to have it off. I went to see him. We ended up hanging out, talking afterwards, and he said, oh, by the way, I play at the street fair on Tuesday nights in Oyster Bay if you ever want to come by and harmonize or jam. So a few weeks later, I made it down. As I'm walking up, I hear this woman harmonizing with him. And my first thought is, drat, somebody beat me to it. And my second thought is, wait, they're doing a song, and I don't remember whether it was something by the Eagles or America.
That's the thing, we can't remember the key songs. It makes
But
me
it
nuts.
definitely had a third harmony part available, and I hadn't even had a beverage. I was just being my normal cocky self, and I just kind of walked up and said, can I get on that microphone
Oh,
with
you
you?
didn't
And
say get on. You just,
I
I
didn't
was singing. It was in the middle of some phrase, and then all of a sudden, lies right next to me over here, and I'm like, who is this guy? Oh, I think he can stay.
It was 1985, and Halley's Comet came in view. If I didn't see it then, it'd be a long, long wait, I knew. I lived in a college town, streetlights made stars hard to see. To see it, well, I'd have to walk down to the school observatory, though it was often on my mind. I somehow never found the time, and it had all but vanished when I knew I'd miss flowers stood, the outdoor observation deck. I remembered as a kid, meant to check it out again. All those years I never did. It was often on my mind. I somehow never found the time. I saw them rumbling, burning when I knew I'd miss my chance again. People, places all appear as if they always will be here. It's always easier to say, I'll get to that another day. Now in that tower I didn't know I had a friend from long ago. Years went by, we'd grown apart. I thought about her even so. From time to time it crossed my mind to call her and get back in touch. As good as my intentions were, my efforts didn't come to much. She was often on my mind. I somehow never found the time. I saw her in the papers when I knew I'd miss my chance again. I hope I live to 95. Got a cause to stay alive. When Halley's comet comes again, I'm going to think of you, my friend.
You know, FM radio was whatever was top 20, one day I'll know what the number is what I heard, which is one of the reasons I fell in love with Stewart's music when I heard him, because he is a PLJ listener too. And it reflects in the kinds of songs you do, has a familiar sound to it.
I grew up
Am I wrong?
on 70s FM radio.
Yeah.
Same type of stuff: Beatles, Eagles, Crosby, Stills and Nash,
Yeah.
America, James Taylor. Back then, pop was very melodic,
Right.
and it had moving chord progressions, bass lines, that sort of thing.
Yes.
So it was musically easy to listen to. At the same time, it was written with a certain amount of depth for the most, at least the ones that have lasted that we all think of.
You get lyrics first, don't you?
I
seem to think
get-
I think of you as starting with a lyric because you always got some.
I prefer to
scratch paper
have
flapping around.
I prefer to have some sort of musical idea in mind. It might just be one that I discard later, but if I have the structure of a melody in mind first, the lyrics come a lot more easily and take shape much better. They have better structure to them.
Right.
If I write the lyrics first, I'm usually not as happy with the way the song comes out.
Do you have to be either unhappy or happy to write?
For me, it's something that has to either get me riled up or I have to be really sad or really jazzed up, but there has to be something really intense emotionally going on inside my head that just makes me, that gets me thinking.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that, except last year, the months of May and June,
I remember.
every morning, remember those months?
Uh-huh.
They happened.
I was there.
You were there too. You guys were there. But
You were
every
there.
morning, all it took for me was a cup of coffee and a shower. And every morning I wrote a new song.
Was this like some kind of discipline you
It
were
was
trying to
no, oh no, absolutely not. I was just trying to have coffee and a shower. In recent years, I've tried to develop a more spontaneous approach to music, performance, and songwriting. It kind of moved into songwriting automatically. I was just trying to write songs all along, but in performance, I wanted to be more spontaneous, and I
You are
learned
the king
about
of
improv,
spontaneous. He
improvisation.
will. I've never seen anybody else do this as well as he does. Playing in a restaurant or something, and he will see two people sitting there, and he will just sing a song about them and make up an entire song on the spot that rhymes and has everything, whatever.
You can do that?
He does this all the time.
You
Yeah,
know
I've-
we're going to
I've
try
been
and
working
make
on
you
that.
do that.
I'm there. Just hose me down. I already had the coffee.
Give this boy a guitar.
I'm a bee now. I'm a bee, yes, I'm a bee. And life's too short to be stuck inside. I hope you listen to me. Cause when I fly, I can fly so high, always digging all the scenery. But if your window's open and I fly in, I might not find my way back to the golden light of day. Oh no, it's windows and curtains for me. I keep banging my head against my last breath, over and over again, right until the end. Oh yeah. Oh, but don't worry, I'm back. I'm a bread now. Yes, I'm a bread on which you feed. And life's too short to be stuck in between, like some sandwich over what should I be? Well, if you keep it fresh, it can always be good and will surely satisfy all your needs. I know when I get stale, I can cry and wail, but if the help ain't gonna come from outside, gotta sweep away the crumbs I've cried. Sometimes life can harden your heart. You gotta get in touch with where you started, as a quiet little seed with everything you need. Yeah. Life's too short to keep holding on to where we've been, losing sight of where we're going. Life's too short to be rehearsing all life long. Oh, you know it. I'm a fan now. I'm not a man, that's right, I'm a fan. And life's too short to be a cold shoulder, unaware of a master plan. Well, if it gets real hot, it can be cool if you're not. Just help others from wherever you stand. And if that window's open and I fly in, it might help me find my way back to the golden light of day. Why? Because life's too short. It's too short, life's too short. Now it's too short. Because life's too short. It's too short, life's too short. Now it's too short. Because life's too short. It's too short. Let me hear now. Now it's too short. Because life's too short. It's too short. Life's too short now. It's too short. Whoa, cool. I'm a bee.
I want to know if you've written all together as a group.
I don't know. Have we?
yet.
No.
Not
How
yet
do you
from-
think that would
from
go?
Scratch.
I think there'd be a lot of crying and screaming.
Hair
Perhaps
pulling.
hair pulling.
Hair
other.
pulling. Don't
Hair
forget
pulling,
the hair pulling.
For
Objects
me, songwriting
flying.
it's always been a very solitary kind of thing because I need to sit and think and let thoughts percolate and experiment on the guitar and play with words and lines and stuff like that. And it's hard for me to grasp the idea of doing that with somebody else. What we do very, and I don't think we've co-written any songs together.
No.
What we really do is we jump in and arrange each other's songs quite a bit. You know, I'll come up with a bass line for one of Glenn's or Hillary's song, or Glenn will do it on mine, or Hillary will come up with some percussion thing that I just never would have thought of. And so what we've got on tape is very different than what any,
What was
whoever
in
actually
the
wrote it
inner
might have
ear
had in
of
mind.
the writer, yeah.
Or it might come out exactly as planned. We never
Which is
know.
kinda cute.
Yeah.
Is that how you do it? I mean, would you do it to tape so that you could reproduce it and decide what to change? Or
We'll go into the studio and whoever wrote it will put down the guitar part and the vocal.
Not like a scratch vocal.
Yeah. And then
Which
the
is
others
just
will.
that you sing the melody just so that it's there, and you might go back. You record it on a separate track, so later you can go back and sing with your whole heart. But you just want to have it on there so you don't forget how it goes.
Right.
Because you will forget the song you just wrote.
Yeah.
Because I don't tend to sit and go, I'm going to write a song now. Give me a pen and paper and give me the guitar. I just kind of, I'll have an idea, and it's kind of like I throw it out there. I say, all right, I have this idea, and I'm throwing it out there, and see what comes back. A day, a week, a month later, it's like just somebody reaches down and raps me on the head and goes, here's your song. Are you ready? Get your guitar. Come on. I'm like, ah. I just dive for the nearest instrument and try to get it because it's like they're floating by and I catch them as they go. And it's like, if I don't get it,
Do they
somebody
have-
else is going to get it. And
Well-
they come like completely formed with the melody and the chords and the whole thing. And it's
Somebody else said that to me last week, and I found that interesting because does that mean that it's not really that personal to you? I mean, if it's
Oh no, it all is. It all is. But there's some kind. It's enough to make you believe in the concept of the muses.
yeah,
There's some kind of collective consciousness, and you're picking something. You're taking a thread from that somehow.
what is your most recent song about?
What is my most recent? I've got a Civil War song.
Why?
I don't know. I heard it go by. I don't know. The only thing I can tell you that might be reasonable is that it was a couple of weeks ago when it rained and rained and rained and rained and rained for like a week on end. And of course the song I wrote did not turn out to be like, I wish it would stop raining. It was called If It Would Only Rain. But I mean, it just, bang, it fell out of the sky.
Jacob's last letter was dated November the 1st. And by the time the next one came from the government, I'd already figured the worst. My babies don't sleep nights crying for their pa. I say he's in heaven, but it don't make it right, no how. Our colored folks runned off as soon as they heard they was free. Still don't understand it. We always was good to them, or always tried to be. I hitched up the mule and I learned myself to plow. But the rain, it won't come, so the cotton won't grow anyhow. If it would only rain, if it would only rain, if it would only rain, if it would only rain. They buried my Jake where he fell, but I ain't never been. 'Cause I ain't sure Jacob's grave something I want to be seeing. I followed the mule, the sun burning down from the sky. And Jake, if this cotton won't grow, don't know how we'll get by. If it would only rain, if it would only rain, if it would only rain, if it would only rain. There's nothing civil about war when it comes to the battle. Brothers killed brothers, men slaughtered like cattle. They say Jake was brave, he took 3 Yankees with him. But I think of their wives, and I think of their children. If it would only rain, if it would only rain, if it would only rain, if it would only rain. If I could take their old war back, I surely would do it. But I'm only one woman, there ain't no more to it. Jake, you're in heaven, won't you send down the rain? Turn these brown fields green, let me start all over again. If it would only rain, 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 if it would only rain.
I always thought of myself as a rock and roller who preferred to play an acoustic guitar to an electric. But yeah, so I didn't really think of myself as a folkie until I went to NERFA the first time and realized just what a broad spectrum of music the modern definition of folk included. Because it's everything from singer-songwriters to bluegrass jammers to sea shanties to all sorts of wild, crazy things, hillbilly music. But it's all lots of fun to kind of sink your teeth into musically.
a folk song?
The current definition, like if you say I'm writing a folk song, it's one that's, easily accessible for the listener. It's easy to sing along and play
that
along
sing-along
on.
chorus,
Because
yeah.
the whole thing about folk
A
music is
sing-along
it's
chorus. Okay.
the thing about folk music is it's meant for everyone to join in on. It's not just a listening or a watching experience. It's a participatory experience.
Got it.
And so if you want to be a folk singer, you got to have some songs that everyone can kind of sink their teeth into and sing along on.
Yeah.
Why would you want to be a folk singer?
Well, that's a tough question to answer.
Not because you want to make a whole lot of money at it.
Okay.
Yeah, as David
jump
Roth
on
says,
this
it's
Yeah.
Let me jump on this one because I did not know I was a folk singer until they took me to NERFA, the Northeast Regional Folk Alliance Conference, 3 years ago? Yeah,
Something like that,
3
yeah.
years.
3?
They're like, you're in this band now. We have to go to NERFA. What's NERFA? It's all the folk music, all the folk musicians. And I'm like, oh, I'm not a folk musician. And when I saw what falls under the umbrella of folk music, blew my mind.
This is what I'm saying.
Amazing stuff.
I think-
Everything from what they're calling roots rock, where you got, somebody playing drums and the big stand-up bass and a saxophone over here, to these earnest young women with guitars singing about their broken hearts, and just everything in between.
Are you an earnest young
To
woman singing
bluegrass,
about a
to sea
broken heart?
shanties,
I
to
hope not
hybrids.
to be anymore.
The current term folk has sort of gotten a bit far away from its classic definition.
Right.
When I grew up, to me folk music was Pete Seeger and Peter, Paul and Mary.
Yep.
And it was only in the last decade or so that I discovered how far back folk music goes and what a folk ballad really is, and how wide a net it casts now. So there's a home for an awful lot of people in it, and because of that, there's room for a lot of creativity and a lot of sort of cross-pollination or hybridization, which makes it
What about
interesting.
your audience? What does that make it more difficult for you to find a real following?
You sometimes have to sort of find your circuit. Like I tried playing the rock and roll clubs with what I was doing. It wasn't going over well. And then at the folk jams or festivals or things like that, I found a whole lot of people that seemed to like it. So you kind of have to find your place where you fit in, and that there's in the country bars or the folk coffee houses or the rock and roll bars or whatever. You have to find where you fit and kind of find your audience.
Please forgive me if I stare. It's impolite and I apologize, but the ringlets in your hair proved a bit too tempting for my eyes. And as I sit behind you, I just had to take that chance. I knew I never could be satisfied with just one glance. And now you have caught me, and before this awkward moment's gone, I hope you'll somehow tell me, linger on. Please forgive me if I smile. One of my most twisted, tongue-tied grins. That's not usually my style. As the conversation just begins, and I may start to stammer as I cast for words to say, between the oh hello and have a truly pleasant day. I'm caught in the headlights, and before this awkward moment's gone, I hope you'll somehow tell me, linger on. I dream of how your body might feel next to me as the sunrise starts to stream through the cottage curtains by the sea. It's only been one evening and this restaurant's first rate. And in a moment I may ask you for a second date. But on this flight of fancy, on this warm imaginary dawn, I hope you'll somehow tell me, linger on. Linger on.
I have noticed since I've become an impresario,
That's a great word.
we call it the impresario.
I don't even know what that means, but
That
I
is me.
love
She's
the
an
sound.
empress named
I
Sario.
am an empress named Sarah.
She is standing in the middle of the ring
no,
with her
Sarah's
top
his
hat
daughter.
and her.
Yeah, but since that's happened and I wind up going to these venues and hearing music, you guys jump in with everybody. And they expect you to.
We call them we're guerrilla harmonizers.
We harmonizing upon the unaware.
Yeah,
since,
and the unexpecting.
on the unexpected.
I was doing some online shopping,
Yeah.
and I came upon a video of them singing with Lucky 13.
Yeah.
That I couldn't believe how
remember.
great it sounded.
The
It was
Lucky 13
magnificent.
comes to the
that's
garden
right,
stage.
yeah.
The garden stage, it was
And they
amazing.
invited us up.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
This
Yeah.
song
Really,
I didn't
We should
know.
get a
I was
hold of
there for that. One minute you're taking pictures of them, the next minute you're up there singing with them.
We do
My
that.
favorite is when somebody invites us up at that North Fork Folk Festival. Say that 3 times fast. Out in Mattituck about, what, a month and a half, 2 months ago?
Strawberry?
Month and a half, yeah.
Yeah, in the Strawberry Festival. Josh Joffin is like, oh, can you guys just sing some backup on this? And we're like, well, we don't know this song, but that won't stop us. He's like-
Exactly.
he says, you know, you'll pick up on the chorus pretty quick and just some oohs or something. Well, but he was too.
Wall of sound.
Second
A wall
verse
of-
in, we had counterpoint and we had harmony and we had this, and he kept turning over his shoulder going, and we're like, just face the microphone already, we're fine.
You do your part, right.
I love doing that to people. Playing you.
Is that the part of being a musician that you like the best, the singing? Would it be okay if you wrote songs and other people sang them?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, see, that would frustrate
I have a
me.
song.
I would hate to not be able to sing. That would, ever since I was old enough to know there was such a thing as music, I was singing.
Yeah.
Well, I was kind of stuck with it in the house. My grandmother was a professional singer back in the 1920s. I was raised by her and my mother, my mother had a beautiful voice, but was too shy to sing in front of people. I used to try to take her to karaoke. Come on, you can sing. I can't sing in front of those people. I'll buy you a drink, you can sing. But by the time you get me drunk enough to sing, I won't be able to stand up long enough to do it. So I did not convince her to sing karaoke. First things I can remember is like the first Peter, Paul and Mary album. And I'd come, I'm 3, 4 years old. I'm trotting into the living room. They're singing. I start singing with them. And if I doubled anybody, they'd turn and say, no, honey, there's 3 parts. You find your own note. I had no idea what they were training me to do.
But they trained you well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy, not being able to sing.
Yeah.
Sung in every nation, they're heard in every age, in the brashness of a preacher, in the guidance of a sage, the hymnal of a Christian, the prayer book of a Jew, the Buddhist monk whose saffron robe lies bloodied in the dew. The chance to make life better, the chance to have a choice. Songs of hope and freedom are heard in every voice. Songs of hope and freedom are heard in every voice. In villages and hamlets, unknown beyond their walls, when peaceful people hear a cry and heed a timeless call, the suffering of a stranger would stand up for their own, to challenge the battalions who stand behind the throne. When the burden and the bondsman know it's time to take a stand, the songs of hope and freedom are heard in every land. The songs of hope and freedom are heard in every land. It's songs like Go Down Roses, like One Candle Too, Amazing Grace and Jubilo and Sorry Hallelujah. And if this land is your land, a land of liberty, when people suffer anywhere, no one is truly free. Music may sound foreign, you may not know the tongue, but still you'll know the meanings from the way that they are sung. In quiet halls in churches, or confronting a regime, it's what some take for granted, to some is still a dream. In rituals and rallies, in hallowed hall and hill, the songs of hope and freedom are never to be still. The songs of hope and freedom are never to be still.
Goodbye. Goodbye.